All right, we're gonna talk about the new Depto Check version 2.0. See here, it's got the 2.0 in it. Anyways, it comes packaged up. Nice packaging, KD did. I'm gonna show you the differences between the 1.0 and the 2.0. Here's the version 1. You see it's a lot thinner. It's the same basic concepts, but the difference is this one used a lock screw on the side, and then you had to position this, and it had almost infinite adjustment, so it's hard to get it positioned just right. It worked, it just took a little bit more patience, and then you had to modify the needle. 2.0, we're utilizing the dovetail system of the indicator itself, and you can see we've got the dovetail machined into this billet. So you slide that in, and then you lock that lock screw down. So it makes it to where, you know, you're somewhat controlled this way and you're just moving in and out. So functionally everything else is the same. So we're going to bolt it down. The provision holes are still the same. You're going to want like a little flat blade screwdriver to adjust the needle. You can bolt this to your bench if you don't have a CPS plate. You can do it by hand. It's really universal. So as you can see, this is the needle here, and this you can actually maneuver up and down. Okay, you're not going to hurt the indicator. It's made to do that. So what you want to do is for your case, and I've got different cases here from 223 all the way to 50 BMG. So this is just 300 WSM. To set it up, first you want to make sure the ball of the indicator is centered over the center of the case. It doesn't have to be perfect. What you can do is an unprimed case, you can just stick it down and see that the ball, you can see the ball through the flash hole, then you're close enough. Now we want to set our 0 on our indicator. So we're going to take this, and you can see this moved 35 thousandths nearly, right? It's really too much because we don't want that much needle movement. So what we'll do here is just take this and push that down a little bit. Go here, and you can see we're about half that now. Still really more than we need. It would work there, but you can see right there we're just barely touching, right? So now if you went too far, we redesigned it to where we have the slot open on the end. The original version, you had to go like this. Now you can go fully from the end. So you can take that and you can bring that up. And you can see there we're moving about 5-6 thousandths or so. That's plenty fine. So now there's no primer in there, so we're going to set our 0. That means when we take and slide a case in, if it reads 0 on the primer, that means it's flush. Okay? Now, we're going to take, I've got 2 cases here, both of them SOM. One of them's below and one of them's above. So as you're going to see here, right when I enter onto the case, it goes to the 0, because that's the planar movement. Now we're going to go to where the primer is. That primer is seated 4 thousandths deeper than the face of the case. Now we're going to look at this one. This one here, here's our 0. This one is 4.5 thousandths past the face of the case. So it's not pressed in enough. I don't know if you can see that, but that, you can see that primer is hanging out. So that's how you set it up. Now let's say you want to do a 223. Well, obviously that indicator stylus tip is not centered. So all we do, loosen up this screw, pull that back until that's centered, And then you'll see, wait, well, that doesn't lock up. Because when you're running the 223, that's way back, take this thumb screw out, put it in the rear hole. That way we'll clamp on that dovetail. So we'll clamp that there. You want to double check your 0. So you can see there, because we moved the indicator, I'm just touching the case flush. Two, do, 3, right there's our 0. So now you could actually slide this case in here, push it down, locks up in the V. You can see we're basically 3/1000ths depressed in for that primer. Now let's say you have a 50 BMG. The old original version worked for the 50, but it was really tricky because we just didn't have enough opened up area here. So with the new one, you can see we're encapsulating a lot more of the case. Take that thumb screw out, because we're going to be putting the indicator a lot deeper into the fixture. You can see here, that's where the stylist is, and that's basically right above where the 50 case is. We're going to reset our 0. So I'm just going to go here, and you can see now it's not touching. So we're going to bend that up until, and you can see this is a lot now. So we're going to push that down just a smidge. The indicator has a little clutch in there so that it's made to do that. You know, you can pry this way. I don't recommend it because you're putting a side load on. So that's why I recommend going this way from the end. Okay, so you can see that's our 0. That's flush the bottom of the case, basically, okay? Now, as you guys know, this is just some Lake City brass, so the back is not real flat, but you get the concept that that primer is 4.5/1000ths below the face of that case. Okay, so 223, which is basically your 3/8 diameter cases, 374s, all the way up to your 50 BMG cases, can all be used in between. That's a 375 Chi-Tac. We can take that, loosen that up to where that's basically centered over the primer, tighten that up, bring this over. You don't have to adjust it because you're still within the full range of motion of that indicator, but I like to not use that much of the indicator. So you can see that's pretty good. So you can see that's flat, 0 that. So this, on this 375 Chi-Tac, as you put this down and hold it square, is right at about 3.5 to 3/1000ths below. There's our 0. Slide it in, and you can see here 3.5/1000ths. And the goal is here, after you're done priming, you take that and you just slide it right in with one hand, and you see exactly what that is. Then it goes to your priming tray or to your loading tray. It's, you can use it afterwards, whatever, but it's made to go boom, prime, check, good within spec of what you want, and your tray, and you keep going. There's other primer depth checking systems out there. Every one of them you have to have a specialized collet or shell holder for different diameter cases. This is the only one on the market that's universal from 223 to 50 BMG. It's infinitely adjustable. Like I said, with adjusting that, the indicator doesn't hit, you know, the bottom of the base plate or your table, and it's a lot more solid than the version 1.0 is. Version 1.0 still works on my CPS priming plates. That's what I still use on mine. This one's just a little bit more user-friendly and able to do the 50 BMG cases a lot easier with it encapsulating more of that case. So yep, that's the 2.0 version.